Truth, as the old adage goes, can be stranger than fiction. This is true in the case that conspiracy theories are more appealing and seem legit than the truth itself. In fact, some conspiracy theories turned out to be true, but not all of them are legit. Due to the appealing and thrilling nature, we are all inclined and interested in conspiracy theories. And if you're also somewhat interested in conspiracy theories, then make sure to give the video a thumbs up, as we're going to talk about 10 of the craziest conspiracy theories that you didn't know about, and surprisingly, some of them have turned out to be true. So let's start with the number 1 conspiracy theory. Number 1. The government is stealing dead bodies. In the early 1950s, it was widely circulated that the US government was stealing dead bodies for some kind of secret research. Following the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, the government of the United States initiated a comprehensive research project with the goal of determining how radioactive fallout affects the human body. At that time, it was widely known that the government was involved in the theft of body parts from deceased people. They needed young tissue, so they hired a worldwide network of agents to discover recently deceased newborns and children, and then take samples and even limbs from them. This was done without the knowledge or approval of more than 1,500 families who were already in the midst of grieving. It wasn't until after a half a century had passed that the horrifying scientific history of Project Sunshine became widely known, and most of the statements of conspiracy theories were proven true. Number 2. Conspiracy regarding Donald Trump's presidency. In the far-right conspiracy theory, it is claimed that former President Donald Trump is engaged in a covert war against a deep state gang of satanic pedophiles and cannibals. This assertion lacks any basis in fact. This notion has its roots in 2017, when what is purported to be a high-ranking government employee disclosed information about the inner workings of the government on the anonymous bulletin board known as 4chan. The person merely identified themselves as Q, and from that point forward, the far-right group of individuals who are now known as QAnon emerged. According to the Washington Post, QAnon began as a small-scale internet forum, but it has now grown into a popular belief system among some members of the conservative political movement. Number 3. Mind Control Lab. A high-frequency active auroral research program can be found in the mountainous regions of Alaska. This program assists scientists in their research into the uppermost levels of the atmosphere. The facility encompasses more than 180 antennas and spans across 33 acres of land. The antennas have collected data about the aurora borealis, radio waves, and other things happening in the sky. However, some people believe that the antennas are experimental weapons that can control the minds of other people. Some people feel that it was a factor that led to the destruction of the Columbia Space Shuttle in 2003. Number 4. Illuminati Complex in North Dakota. In the 1970s, construction began on the Stanley R. Mickelson Safeguard Complex in North Dakota, with the purpose of detecting approaching missiles. A circular opening can be found on each of the $500 million building's faces, giving it the appearance of an incomplete pyramid, similar to the one that can be found on the reverse side of the dollar bill. It started on October 1, 1975, and it ended on October 2, 1975, when Congress made the decision to discontinue the program. The decision inspired many people to come up with conspiracy theories. Because of the building's pyramidal shape, there was a school of thought that believes it is used by the Illuminati. This way of thinking is based on Freemasonry, which is the most well-known secret society. Number 5. Giant hidden active volcano. There is a common belief that in the USA Yellowstone National Park, buried beneath something much more terrifying. According to the legends, there is an active volcano that has a diameter of 44 miles, and if it explodes, it has the potential to destroy the entire United States of America. Some conspiracy theorists are under the impression that the next volcanic explosion might take place at any moment, despite the fact that the volcano has not erupted for the past 630,000 years. Some people believe that the United States government is making preparations for a potential disaster, since they are aware that it will likely occur soon. People who believe in conspiracies often point to videos that show animals fleeing Yellowstone National Park, which they believe is a sign that an eruption is about to occur. Number 6. Aliens in Area 51. Some people claim that the remains of crashed UFO spacecraft are kept at Area 51, which is an Air Force base located approximately 150 miles outside of Las Vegas. Conspiracy theorists believe that government scientists reverse engineered the highly advanced technology of aliens. A number of alleged sightings of unidentified flying objects in the region, as well as the testimony of a retired Army colonel who claims that he had access to extraterrestrial materials gathered from an alien spacecraft that crashed in Roswell, New Mexico, have provided fuel for this theory. Some people believe that the government is conducting research on time travel at Area 51, which is also referred to as Groom Lake or Dreamland. People think that the United States government is hiding the fact that extraterrestrials or spaceships from other planets exist by keeping the details of Area 51 secret for national security reasons. Number 7. Aliens are continuously visiting Earth. The 10th of February 1977 is a very significant day in the history of UFO conspiracy theories. It was on that day that a number of police officers in the city of Flora, Mississippi, claimed to have spotted a peculiar object hanging in the sky above the top of a woodland. One of the cops described the object as being around 15 to 18 feet above the ground, blue in color, sort of a metallic blue, shaped like an old spinning top that children used to play with, and having portholes around the center of it. The officers pursued the UFO until it disappeared over the tree line, at which point they gave up the chase. After many years, it appears that there are two areas in the forest that are approximately 15 feet each where nothing is growing, but there has never been an official explanation for these occurrences. Number 8. Secret societies control the world. Perhaps you're already aware of this fact. A small, elite group of people exercise absolute authority over the entire planet. Many of the rest of us know that in 2004, both presidential contenders were members of Yale University's elite Skull and Bones organization, whose alumni include many current and former government officials. Apart from that, the Illuminati, a secret society, plans to incite wars in order to build support for a global government. And then there's the Freemasons, who call themselves the oldest and largest worldwide fraternity and count George Washington among their ranks. Even though they provide a lot of money to charity, some people believe that Masons all across the world are plotting their destiny behind closed doors at Masonic temples. Number 9. The CIA and AIDS. Since the first reports of the HIV/AIDS epidemic in 1981, there have been allegations that the fatal virus was manufactured by the CIA to eradicate gays and African Americans. Even now, a number of prominent people believe this conspiracy theory. South African President Thabo Mbeki once said that the US military labs were making people sick. Others claim that the government purposefully injected the virus into gay men during hepatitis B experiments in New York, San Francisco, and Los Angeles in 1978. Some people also point to Richard Nixon, who brought the U.S. In 1971, the Army's Biowarfare Department collaborated with the National Cancer Institute. Many scientists believe the virus leapt from monkeys to people sometime around the 1930s. Number 10. The moon landings were faked. It's been nearly 4 decades since Neil Armstrong took his giant leap for mankind. Doubters claim that the U.S. government staged the lunar landings in order to beat Russia in the space race, with Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin acting out their mission on a secret film set, either high in the Hollywood Hills or deep within Area 51. With just NASA's images and movies of the Apollo missions accessible, there is no independent confirmation that the lunar landings were anything other than a fraud. They claim that the movement of the flag clearly demonstrates the presence of wind, which is impossible in a vacuum. Theorists have speculated that filmmaker Stanley Kubrick may have assisted NASA in faking the first lunar landing, considering that his 1968 film 2001: A Space Odyssey demonstrates that the technology to artificially build a space-like set existed at the time. And the 3 astronauts were killed in a fire while testing equipment for the first lunar mission. They were executed by the US government, which feared they would reveal the truth. That was all for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did so, then don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more amazing updates. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.